Welcome back. Time for this week's Capitol Report with Pat McGuigan of CapitolBeatOK.com. Pat, we're getting close. About 4 weeks until we've got absentee ballots. Then we've got the election on the 8th. A lot of state questions on the ballot. We've talked a lot about criminal justice reform. There are a couple of state questions regarding that. You want people to focus on.
Yeah, we've touched on them before. State question 780 and 781. State question 780 would reclassify several offenses like drug possession for the first time and some other property offenses that are nonviolent as misdemeanors rather than felonies. And that would over time, as it has in other states, have an impact on the prison population and on the raw numbers. State question 781 then, building on some of the ideas in the original Justice Reinvestment Initiative, would take projected savings, they'd estimate the savings on an annualized basis after this kicks in a couple of years, and use those resources for rehabilitation programs, for fighting drug addiction, for supporting people's move into the workforce away from lives on the wrong side of the law. So I'm very hopeful about this, something I've reported on my entire lifetime, basically, since I was a teenager, but also personally advocated during my years at the Oklahoman and many times, as you mentioned here on this program. A Sooner poll found that in August, the first one, 780, had 75% support, and the second one, 781, had 71% support. That's good. Robert Henry, former Attorney General, former law dean, former U.S. Appeals Court judge, and now president of Oklahoma City University, is one of the big supporters. These approaches have worked in Texas, a conservative state, and in other states around the country. I'm just hoping that Chris Steele, the former House Speaker, is successful in his efforts to pass those two particular ballot measures. They're important.
He's put a lot of effort into them,
right.
That's for sure. All right, briefly, I know you want to talk about an observation made by columnist John Fund.
Yeah, he wrote last week, maybe Americans don't want to elect a grown man who acts like a 13-year-old boy. John's an old friend. He was my California reporter when I ran the Initiative and Referendum Report in the 1980s. Fellow conservative, fellow journalist. He did a lot of hard news stories for me, but I admire his commentary. And he also wrote last week, if Americans on Election Day think that Donald Trump has the maturity of a 13-year-old boy, undecided voters will conclude that he is 22 years shy of the age requirement for the presidency stipulated in the Constitution. People can get as mad as they want to about observations like that, but they're being made by thoughtful conservatives who are concerned about the course of this campaign, both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump.
You can read more about these and other topics at CapitolBeatOK.com. For Pat McGuigan, I'm Alex Cameron. Have a great day.